And we're live. We're live early. Now, shout out to you guys for rocking and rolling with me on a Thursday night. We have the State of the Union address coming up here in just a moment at 9 o'clock. So I'm late, but I'm early because the event does not start until 9 o'clock. We're going to see the president, quote unquote president, come on out and give the State of the Union address. And I presume we're going to have some a reaction from the Republicans. We're going to see what they're going to say. Hopefully they are well hydrated and they're not doing a bunch of lip smacking and whatnot. So hopefully everything's all good. Shout out to you guys for being here. I most certainly appreciate you. If you enjoy the content, if you enjoy the channel, please give this video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. That'll help me out tremendously. Again, Joe Biden is giving the State of the Union address. It's scheduled to start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are at about 8:48, so we got a little while to go. Shout out to you guys on the Facebook. If you're watching me over there, I most certainly appreciate you. Let me go ahead and share that on my socials here. So there's going to be a lot. What do you guys think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to have I think there was a bingo. I'm going to show you guys a bingo right quick before we even get into the actual situation. Shout out to you, Michael, over there on the Facebook. I appreciate you. But I'm going to show you guys a bingo card. Maybe you guys can download it. And as a matter of fact, if you follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Anthony B. Logan, you can see the bingo card that I put up there. And let me go ahead and find it so I can put it on the screen for you guys. And again, shout out to y'all for being here. Most certainly appreciate y'all on a Thursday night. Thank you to everybody who was also here last night. I appreciate you for coming each and every Wednesday and Saturday for the regular ABL live. Okay, here we go. Here's the bingo card. And again, if you're just not coming in, thank you. The State of the Union address will start in about 11 minutes. That's when it's scheduled to start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're at about 8:49 Eastern Standard Time. So here's the bingo card. So we got quite a few things going on. Okay. So, again, if you want to print this out, you want to download it, whatever, go to my Twitter page, it's right there, or take a screenshot, whatever. So the cards, I'm going to read them. I'm Jill's husband. The teleprompter slip up. He might fall. Something about his father. He'll say Trump's a loser. Democracy is in danger. He might talk about Bo. Now, does he know when he died, where he died, how he died? Who knows? Inflection point. That might get said at a certain point. He might refer to Ireland. Folks, he'll say that. Either he's going to scream that or whisper it. Joke about his age. Don't jump. It'd be a crazy gaffe. Of course, a lot of these that I mentioned already are going to happen. This is the bingo card for tonight's State of the Union address. Talking about Bidenomics. Cookie Monster. I'm not quite sure I've heard that one. The border. We got to talk about the border. GD it. I'm not gonna be cussing tonight. That's his thing. He's gonna blame something on Trump. Talk about Amtrak, riding the Amtrak. Talking about Delaware and Philadelphia, whatever. Just watch me. He'll say that. He'll whisper. Oh, it's gonna be some whispering. You can bet your bottom dollar on the whispering. He'll cough. When in God's name, he'll say that. Dignity, and then of course we got to talk about Vladimir Putin. So that's tonight's bingo card for the State of the Union address. I think quite a few of those are going to happen. The Jill's husband, that's going to be one. Talking about Bo, the whispering, that is most certainly going to happen. Shout out to Miss Adams saying the state of the potato, hilarious. Hilarious. Now, Charles Barkley didn't get me so low. I'm good. I'm good money. Charles don't want no smoke. He don't want no drama. Okay, so now I am good money. For sure. And shout out to you guys again for rocking and rolling. We will be getting started here in just a few. I already got it queued up from the White House page. And as soon as it starts, we're going to start. And I'm sure there's going to be a Republican response. So whenever that happens, as soon as this wraps up, I'll be on the hunt for the GOP response. And I just hope and pray that these guys are hydrated. I don't want to hear no lip smacking and whatnot. I don't want to have no Marco Rubio moment where you're trying to search for the water bottle and you can't find it. Yeah, we don't want that to happen at all. So shout out to you guys. I'm streaming it. I will be streaming it live. You see this right here? This is on the White House's page, and it says we will begin shortly. So as soon as it starts, I'll have it right here. So we're just waiting. Again, it starts at 9 o'clock. So we got about 8 minutes. That's when it's scheduled. He could be late. He could blame the white man like how I blame the white man to be late, but it's scheduled to start at 9 o'clock. We're just a little bit early. All right, we're just a tad bit early. So we'll get started in just a few. All right, State of the Diaper. Not a joke. He'll do that one. That's right, TM Graves. Not a joke. Anyways, he'll do that. Come on, man. He'll most certainly do that as well. All right, shout out to you, Bones. Good evening to you as well. Yeah, it's just me. Yeah, I'm gonna get in trouble. Yeah, I can't start the questioning. I can't do that. They're not gonna let me do that. I'm gonna get in trouble. My thing is, who is he gonna get in? Who's gonna hold him accountable? Really, who's gonna get him in trouble? Shout out to Al and Gary and Michael. I appreciate you. You're not watching, Gary. Oh, it's all right. Shout out to Michigan, Al. I appreciate you for joining on the Facebooks. And it's all good. Let's say I'm here for you guys. So yeah, I had to do it because if you guys were asking me, you were like, "Hey, you going to stream it?" It's like, "Yeah, I'll stream it. I'll stream it tonight. I'll also stream the response from the GOP, and then I'll do like a recap for a shorter video tomorrow because I know sometimes time is of the essence. Not everyone has that kind of time to watch this. It'll probably be about an hour and some change. The one from last year was about an hour and a half, somewhere in that ballpark. So we're going to see how the whole thing goes. Oh, yeah, those chin. Yeah, those chin, his chin. I don't know what's going on with that chin where it's like a duplex with an alley in the middle. I don't understand what's going on with that. I think at one point it was one unit. Then it some kind of way spread. It's like, how did that happen? Does that happen with age or is that something else going on? I'm kind of confused, but again, we're going to see it coming up here pretty soon. Solo says Biden going to come out with his clothes on like crisscross in the 90s backward. That's hilarious. Yeah, we don't want to see Biden jump because if he jump, you're going to fall all on his head. Okay, we're going to see his feet in the air yet again. If he tries to do some crisscross dance moves, we don't want to see that happen at all. Yeah, that's not going to be the way. These boats said Moses parted it. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Part of that chin, huh? That's funny. All right. So shout out to you guys. If you enjoyed the content, if you enjoyed the channel, please give the video a thumbs up. Share the video as well. Share it with friends and family that might get triggered about Biden not doing a very good job. Rick says it'll be 20 minutes long. We'll see. We will see. What do you guys think that he's going to cover in the State of the Union address? Is he going to address Laken Riley, the 22-year-old young woman who was unfortunately taken away from this planet Earth by an illegal alien from Venezuela out there in Athens, Georgia, on the University of Georgia campus? Will he talk about her? Who is he going to speak about in this? Is he going to speak about the inflation? Is he going to speak about the wars we got going on that were not going on under Trump? Is he going to try to attack Trump? I'm not sure what you have to attack Trump over when obviously Trump's doing a better job, or he did a better job when he was the president. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. A lot of pandering, that's probably going to be it. All spin and lies. That's right, Jackie. Blame everything on Trump. Oh, the gaffes, listen, Bit Lebowski, the gaffes are going to be out of this world because that's pretty much all he can do at this point. And again, if you're just not coming in, the stream, well, the State of the Union address, pardon me, is set to start at 9 p.m. Eastern. So any minute now, we're a little bit early. We're about 3 minutes before. So as soon as this starts, I got it already loaded up. As soon as it starts, we will start. All right. So shout out to you guys. 9 p.m. It's getting close to bedtime. Yeah, it's definitely getting close to bedtime for sure. It is getting close to bedtime for your man Joe, for creepy Joe. All right. Now, here's a live shot from C-SPAN. All right. I might switch back and forth between the C-SPAN one and also the one that I just had. Let me just put these side by side. Hold on. Yeah, I'll just do it this way. Y'all give me 1 second so I can get myself together over here. All right, let's do. There we go. Let's do that. All right, so here's a C-SPAN stream.
Mr. Speaker, the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court. Yeah.
What's going on with the convoy? Is that Biden coming to the Capitol? I guess so. How far can it be from the? It's not that far, but anyway, whatever. Whatever. All right, so we got the Supreme Court. Some of the Supreme Court justices, not everybody. I don't see Amy Coney Barrett. I don't see Clarence Thomas. I don't see Kavanaugh. Where's why is it just them? Where's everybody? There's 9. I only see 5 or 6. It's kind of weird. All right, so we're just getting ready. They're just getting ready to, bring everybody in. Oh, there go Ketanji Brown Jackson, John Roberts. Diaper change, last minute diaper change. Oh, there he is. There's Brett Kavanaugh. I see him. So I see John Roberts, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch. Where's Clarence Thomas? And who else am I missing? No Amy Coney Barrett. No Clarence Thomas. And of course, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Oh my God, that was Mitt Romney and my man Joe Manchin from West Virginia. Oh goodness gracious, what are they talking about? We love you. Okay, we got Byron Donalds. Shout out to Byron Donalds. I'm not sure who he is right there. You guys may know who that is. That's Sheila Jackson Lee from Houston, Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, Ketanji Brown Jackson, what she's saying, you're a black woman. Shout out to you for being on the Supreme Court. And there goes your man, Creepy Sleepy. Term limits. Look at these people. Look at Nancy Pelosi and her lip fillers. That's crazy. How you going to be 100 years old with lip fillers? That's nuts. Do you see your congressman or congresswoman in the crowd? Do you see who is your state senator or your state rep? Oh, is that my man? Wait a minute. Was that George Santos in the house? There go Marco, little Marco. John Roberts, Sonia Sotomayor. Eleni Kagan, I think she's there. There's a guy that I don't like. Your man from Florida. I forget his name. Matt Gaetz. Yeah, not a fan. Lindsey Graham, warmonger. We're waiting on Joe Biden to come into the building, to come into the room. I'm already seeing some political posturing happening. A lot of the people in the building are wearing white. I'm seeing it over here, I think, like on this particular section. A lot of people wearing white. Yeah. I'm seeing the kente cloth, which is the funniest thing in the world. That's like the sign of an African American. That's not even no African stuff. It is African, but it's not African. You understand? It's like from one particular place. Yeah, a lot of white being worn right here by the women. What is that? Is that like women's suffrage? What's going on with that? If you guys don't, let me know. Okay, getting everything set up, getting a teleprompter, getting a notebook, getting all that good stuff positioned. How do you guys feel about Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House? How do you guys feel about him? Like him, love him. Now, am I going to be a heightist if I ask the obvious question? I'm seeing him standing side by side with Kamala Harris. They appear to be the same size. What's going on with that? You guys like Mike Johnson? Okay, shout out to you guys. Said the white is for white pride. Hilarious. I wouldn't doubt it. Wow, I forgot about Bernie. Is he still alive? I mean, good grief. How old is Bernie Sanders? I mean, goodness gracious. Hold on. Let's look it up right quick. Bernie Sanders, 82 years old. He'll be 83 in September. Term limits, please, please, please. I mean, good grief. Hey, I forgot all about Bernie Sanders. I forgot he even existed. I remember it was this big craze about Bernie Sanders back in the day. But now he's just, living in D.C., bunch of money, big bag of money, chilling. They go Mad Max with a brand new wig. Her and, Clyburn. That's Pramila Jayapal. She's one of the people that said that Trump inspired an insurrection, but she said something else, an inappropriate word that I'm not going to repeat on there. We got some Transformers right here, at least one right there. All right, in uniform. You got your man Nadler chilling on his iPhone 5C, minding his business with the pants from the Batman Penguin movies. Is it blue for Israel hostages? Is that why they're wearing blue suits? So cringe. The white, the blue. Still got a Ukraine holdover. This is so cringe. But I guess I understand it's politics. Here we go. There's Kamala Harris's husband. I forget his name. Doug Emhoff. That's his name. Doug Emhoff. Hey, baby. Cringe. So again, it's scheduled to start at 9 o'clock. We're obviously beyond that. Hey, I guess he's got to blame the white man for his tardiness, but the State of the Union address will be starting whenever Biden decides to come on into the actual chamber. All right, we got movement. There's Jill. Joe Biden.
Mr. Speaker, the President's Cabinet.
Got Lloyd Austin. Sixth in line of succession with prostate cancer, unfortunately. There's your man, Tony Blinken. Janet Yellen. Hopefully there's no shrooms in the building, Miss Yellen. Hopefully we can just have a nice, sober night tonight. Is that a booty gig? Alejandro Mayorkas. So they just having like a little hobnob, schmoozing, all that good stuff. It's like, okay, come on, let's get on with it. Come on. I know I'm late, but let's not be late. Somebody said, if you look close, you'll see John McCain. Yeah, absolutely. If I squint my eyes, I don't see nothing but John McCain. Merrick Garland in the building. Chip on the shoulder from not being part of the Supreme Court. Yeah, let's not have Jill Biden sit next to Doug Emhoff anymore. Remember the last time they sat next to each other and started kissing, or had the little smooch? Oh, okay, Lauren Boebert looking mighty fine. I'm not mad. Hey, I feel like Terrence Bradley right now, but unfortunately, that might not be Terrence Bradley type. He loves blind women. Hey, I got the water on deck. I know I'm thirsty, but I'm good. I'm not that bad right now. Hey, I said it on Twitter. Is this the State of the Union address or a retirement community gathering? Like, what's happening? Everybody got to be, the average age in this room has got to be about 75. What was that? Did somebody hear me in C-SPAN?
Joe! Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
Who is that lady right there? He looks really bad already. He looks like very, very sluggish already. So whatever kind of drugs they got him on, I'm not quite sure if they're really effective. If I never ever see Chuck Schumer's face again, it'd be too soon.
Mr. President. This is about you. This is about the soul of the nation.
Got a MAGA hat going on right here. This is so cringe. The amount of just like oogling over this guy is really cringe. There's Barbara Lee right there, man. Get a picture. Save democracy. Come on, man. This is cringe. Oh, that's MTG right there with the MAGA hat on, if I'm not mistaken. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, that's her. Laken Riley, say her name. If you guys didn't hear, Marjorie Taylor Greene said, Laken Riley, say her name. That's right. Shout out to her. She's like one of my local reps in my area. Not my rep specifically, but she's right down the road. Oh, boy. Boomers versus technology. I mean, shout out to all the boomers, though.
This guy has completed integrity. All right.
So you heard that. She said, you see all this white, we're wearing it for you. I mean, is it a party or State of the Union address? Again, the start time, 9 p.m. We're at 9:22. Just get to the podium, man. I ain't trying to hear all this, see all this. This is just the cringe levels have gone beyond the limits. Who is lady right there with the gray hair that's walking right in front of him? Who is that?
Going this way? Yes, sir.
We got 2,000 watching. Shout out to you guys. Please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. We're waiting on Joe Biden to actually get to the podium to start the State of the Union address. The actual scheduled time was 9 p.m. We are at 9:24. So whenever he's ready, we'll be ready to start. Transformer, robot in disguise right there. All right, he made it. Here we go.
Tony. Thank you. Here's a drill. Good evening. Good evening. If I were smart, I'd go home now.
Age joke. Uh-oh. That wasn't me. That was
Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans, in January 1941, Franklin Roosevelt came to this chamber to speak to the nation, and he said, "I address you at a moment unprecedented in the history of the Union. Hitler was on the march. War was raging in Europe. President Roosevelt's purpose was to wake up Congress and alert the American people that this was no ordinary time. Freedom and democracy were under assault in the world. Tonight, I come to this same chamber to address the nation. Now, it's we who face an unprecedented moment in the history of the Union. And yes, my purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress and alert the American people that this is no ordinary moment either. Not since President Lincoln and the Civil War have freedom and democracy been under assault at home as they are today. What makes our moment rare is that freedom and democracy are under attack both at home and overseas at the very same time. Overseas, Putin of Russia is on the march, invading Ukraine and sowing chaos throughout Europe and beyond. If anybody in this room thinks Putin will stop at Ukraine, I assure you he will not. But Ukraine can stop Putin. Ukraine can stop Putin if we stand with Ukraine and provide the weapons that it needs to defend itself. That is all. That is all Ukraine is asking. They're not asking for American soldiers. In fact, there are no American soldiers at war in Ukraine, and I'm determined to keep it that way. But now, assistance to Ukraine is being blocked by those who want to walk away from our world leadership. It wasn't long ago when a Republican president named Ronald Reagan thundered, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, tells Putin, quote, "Do whatever the hell you want." That's a quote. A former president actually said that, bowing down to a Russian leader. I think it's outrageous, it's dangerous, and it's unacceptable. America is a founding member of NATO, the military alliance of democratic nations created after World War II to prevent war and keep the peace. And today, we've made NATO stronger than ever. We welcomed Finland to the alliance last year. And just this morning, Sweden officially joined, and their minister is here tonight. We're going to stand up.
Is that breaking news? Sweden and NATO?
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And they know how to fight. Mr. Prime Minister, welcome to NATO, the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen. I say this to Congress, we have to stand up to Putin. Send me a bipartisan national security bill. History is literally watching. History is watching. If the United States walks away, it will put Ukraine at risk. Europe is at risk. The free world will be at risk, emboldening others to do what they wish to do us harm. My message to President Putin, who I've known for a long time, is simple. We will not walk away. We will not bow down. I will not bow down. In a literal sense, history is watching. History is watching. Just like history watched 3 years ago on January 6th, when insurrectionists stormed this very Capitol and placed a dagger to the throat of American democracy. Many of you were here on that darkest of days. We all saw with our own eyes the insurrectionists were not patriots. They'd come to stop the peaceful transfer of power, to overturn the will of the people.
Here we go.
January 6th lies about the 2020 election and the plots to steal the election posed a gravest threat to U.S. democracy since the Civil War. But they failed. America stood. America stood strong, and democracy prevailed. We must be honest. The threat to democracy must be defended. My predecessor and some of you here seek to bury the truth about January 6th. I will not do that. This is the moment to speak the truth and to bury the lies. Here's the simple truth. You can't love your country only when you win.
shaking his head, but sitting down.
As I've done ever since being elected to office, I ask all of you without regard to party to join together and defend democracy. Remember your oath of office of defending against all threats, foreign and domestic. Respect free and fair elections. Restore trust in our institutions. And make clear political violence has absolutely no place in America, zero place. Again, it's not hyperbole to suggest history is watching. We're watching. Your children and grandchildren will read about this day and what we do. History is watching another assault on freedom. Joining us tonight is Latoya Beasley, a social worker from Birmingham, Alabama. 14 months ago, she and her husband welcomed a baby girl thanks to the miracle of IVF. She scheduled treatments to have that second child, but the Alabama Supreme Court shut down IVF treatments across the state, unleashed by a Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. She was told her dream would have to wait. What her family had got through should never have happened. Unless Congress acts, it could happen again. So tonight, let's stand up for families like hers. To my friends across the aisle, don't keep this waiting any longer.
Go somewhere else rather than Alabama.
ABL. Guarantee it nationwide.
Political prop.
Like most Americans, I believe Roe v. Wade got it right. I thank Vice President Harris for being an incredible leader, defending reproductive freedom, and so much more. Thank you. My predecessor came to office determined to see Roe v. Wade overturned. He's the reason it was overturned, and he brags about it. Look at the chaos that has resulted. Joining us tonight is Kate Cox, the wife and mother from Dallas. She's become pregnant again and had a fetus of a fatal condition. Her doctor told Kate that her own life and her ability to have children in the future were at risk if she didn't act. Because Texas law banned her ability to act, Kate and her husband had to leave the state to get what she needed. What her family got through should have never happened as well, but it's happening in too many others. There are state laws banning the freedom to choose, criminalizing doctors, forcing survivors of rape and incest to leave their states to get the treatment they need. Many of you in this chamber and my predecessor are promising to pass a national ban on reproductive freedom. My God, what freedom else would you take away? Look, it's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
Basically, abortion is the main topic right now, obviously.
Clearly. Those bragging about overturning Roe v. Wade have no clue about the power of women. But they found out when reproductive freedom was on the ballot. We won in 2022 and 2020, and we'll win again in 2024. If you, the American people, send me a Congress that supports the right to choose, I promise you, I'll restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land again.
We're good on that. No thanks.
Folks, America cannot go back. I'm here tonight to show what I believe is the way forward, because I know how far we come. 4 years ago next week, before I came to office, the country was hit by the worst pandemic and the worst economic crisis in a century. Remember the fear? record losses. Remember the spikes in crime and the murder rate, raging virus that took more than 1 million American lives, of loved ones, millions left behind. A mental health crisis of isolation and loneliness. A president, my predecessor, failed the most basic presidential duty that he owes to American people, the duty to care. I think that's unforgivable. I came to office determined to get us through one of the toughest periods in the nation's history. We have. It doesn't make news in 1,000 cities and towns. The American people are writing the greatest comeback story never told.
The economy is really bad right now. More coughing from Joe.
So let's tell the story here. Tell it here and now. America's comeback is building the future of American possibilities, building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down, investing in all America, in all Americans, to make sure everyone has a fair shot, and we leave no one behind. The pandemic no longer controls our lives. The vaccines that saved us from COVID are now being used to beat cancer, turning setback into comeback. That's what America does. That's what America does.
Shout out to myocarditis.
Folks, my inherited economy is on the brink. Now our economy is literally the envy of the world. 15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record, a record.
Really?
Unemployment at 50-year lows. A record 16 million Americans are starting small businesses, and each one is a literal act of hope. With historic job growth and small business growth for Black and Hispanics and Asian Americans.
There we go.
800,000 new manufacturing jobs in America and counting. Where is it written we can't be the manufacturing capital of the world? We are, we will. More people have health insurance today. More people have health insurance today than ever before. The racial wealth gap is as small as it's been in 20 years. Wages keep going up, inflation keeps coming down. Inflation has dropped from 9% to 3%, the lowest in the world, and tending lower. The landing is and will be soft. And now, instead of importing foreign products and exporting American jobs, we're exporting American products and creating American jobs. Right here in America, where they belong.
A lot of lies so far, a lot of lies.
And it takes time, but the American people are beginning to feel it. Consumer studies show consumer confidence is soaring. Buy America has been the law of the land since the 1930s. Past administrations, including my predecessor, including some Democrats as well in the past, failed to buy American. Not anymore. On my watch, federal projects that you fund, like helping build American roads, bridges, and highways, will be made with American products and built by American workers. Creating good-paying American jobs. And thanks to our CHIPS and Science Act, the United States is investing more in research and development than ever before. During the pandemic, a shortage of semiconductors, chips, that drove up the price of everything from cell phones to automobiles. And by the way, we invented those chips right here in America. Well, instead of having to import them, private companies are now investing billions of dollars to build new chip factories here in America, creating tens of thousands of jobs. Many of those jobs paying $100,000 a year and don't require a college degree.
All chips are made abroad.
In fact, my policies have attracted $650 billion in private sector investment in clean energy, advanced manufacturing, creating tens of thousands of jobs here in America. And And thanks to our bipartisan infrastructure law, 46,000 new projects have been announced all across your communities. And by the way, I noticed some of you strongly voted against it, or they're cheering on that money coming in. I like it. I'm with you. I'm with you. If any of you don't want that money in your district, just let me know. Modernizing our roads and bridges, ports and airports, public transit systems. Removing poisonous lead pipes so every child can drink clean water without risk of brain damage. Providing affordable high-speed internet for every American, no matter where you live, urban, suburban, or rural communities, in red states and blue states. Record investments in tribal communities. Because of my investment in a family farm, because I invested in family farms led by my Secretary of Agriculture, who knows more about this than anybody I know, we're better able to stay in the family for those farms and their children and grandchildren won't have to leave home to make a living. It's transformative. The great comeback story is Belvidere, Illinois, home to an auto plant for nearly 60 years. Before I came to office, the plant was on its way to shutting down. Thousands of workers feared for their livelihoods. Hope was fading. Then I was elected to office, and we raised the Belvidere repeatedly with auto companies, knowing unions would make all the difference. The UAW worked like hell to keep the plant open and get these jobs back, and together we succeeded. Instead of auto factories shutting down, auto factories reopening, and new state-of-the-art battery factories being built to power those cars there at the same. The folks of Belvidere, I say, instead of your town being left behind, your community is moving forward again. Because instead of watching auto jobs of the future go overseas, 4,000 union jobs with higher wages are building the future in Belvidere right here in America. Here tonight is UAW President Shawn Fain, a great friend and a great labor leader. Shawn, where are you? Stand up. And Dawn Sim, a third-generation worker, UAW worker at Belvidere. Shawn, I was proud to be the first president to stand on the picket line, and today, Dawn has a good job in her hometown, providing stability for her family and pride and dignity as well. Showing once again, Wall Street didn't build America. They're not bad guys. They didn't build it, though. The middle class built the country, and unions built the middle class. I say to the American people, when America gets knocked down, we get back up. We keep going. That's America. That's you, the American people. It's because of you America's coming back. It's because of you our future is brighter. It's because of you that tonight we can proudly say the state of our union is strong and getting stronger. Tonight, I want to talk about the future of possibilities that we can build together. A future where the days of trickle-down economics are over, and the wealthy and the biggest corporations no longer get all the tax breaks. And by the way, I understand corporations. I come from a state that has more corporations invested than every one of your states in the state of the United States combined. And I represented it for 36 years. I'm not anti-corporation, but I grew up in a home where trickle-down economics didn't put much on my dad's kitchen table. That's why I determined to turn things around so middle class does well. When they do well, the poor have a way up and the wealthy still do very well. We all do well. And there's more to do to make sure you're feeling the benefits of all we're doing. Americans pay more for prescription drugs than anywhere in the world. It's wrong, and I'm ending it.
How so, sir? How you going to do that?
With a law that I proposed and signed, not one of you Republican buddies voted for it, we finally beat Big Pharma. Instead of paying $400 a month or thereabouts for insulin with diabetes, and it only costs $10 to make, they only get paid $35 a month now and still make a healthy profit. And I want to, but what to do next? I want to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for every American who needs it. Everyone. For years, people have talked about it, but finally we got it done and gave Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices on prescription drugs, just like the VA is able to do for veterans. That's not just saving seniors money, it's saving taxpayers money. We cut the federal deficit by $160 billion. Because Medicare will no longer have to pay those exorbitant prices to Big Pharma. This year, Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market to treat everything from heart disease to arthritis. It's now time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 different drugs over the next decade.
Communism. Negotiate or mandate?
Getting a lot of money, guys. And they'll still be extremely profitable. Will not only save lives, it will save taxpayers another $200 billion. Starting next year, the same law caps total prescription drug costs for seniors on Medicare at $2,000 a year, even for expensive cancer drugs that cost $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. Now I want to cap prescription drug costs at $2,000 a year for everyone. Folks, I'm going to get in trouble for saying that, but if you want to get an Air Force One and fly to Toronto, Berlin, Moscow, well, even Moscow, probably. And bring your prescription with you, and I promise you I'll get it for you for 40% the cost you're paying now. Same company, same drug, same place. Folks, the Affordable Care Act, the old Obamacare, is still a very big deal. Over 100 million of you can no longer be denied health insurance because of pre-existing condition. But my predecessor, and many in this chamber, want to take this prescription drug away by repealing the Affordable Care Act.
Us learning.
Not going to let that happen. We stopped you 50 times before, and we'll stop you again. In fact, I'm not only protecting it, I'm expanding it. They enacted tax credits of $800 per person per year, reduce health care costs for millions of working families. That tax credit expires next year. I want to make that savings permanent. To state the obvious, women are more than half our population, but research on women's health has always been underfunded. That's why we're launching the first ever White House initiative on women's health research, led by Jill, doing an incredible job as First Lady.
What is she going to do?
We'll pass my plan for $12 billion to transfer women's health research and benefit millions of lives all across America. I know the cost of housing is so important to you. If inflation keeps coming down, mortgage rates will come down as well, and the Fed acknowledges that.
Sure.
But I'm not waiting. I want to provide an annual tax credit that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down, to put toward their mortgages when they buy their first home or trade up for a little more space. Just for 2 years.
So refi in this market.
And my administration is also eliminating title insurance on federally backed mortgages. When you refinance your home, you can save $1,000 or more as a consequence. For millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who use antitrust law, who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving up rents. We've cut red tape so builders can get federally financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million new housing units nationwide. Now pass and build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring those rents down. To remain the strongest economy in the world, we need to have the best education system in the world. And I suspect all of you, want to give every child, a good start by providing access to preschool for 3 and 4 years old. You know, I think I pointed out last year, that children coming from broken homes where there's no books, they're not read to, not spoken to very often, start school, kindergarten, or first grade, having heard 1 million fewer words spoken. Well, studies show that children who go to preschool are nearly 50% more likely to finish high school, go on to earn a 2- and 4-year degree, no matter what their background is. I met a year and a half ago with the leaders of the Business Roundtable. They were mad that they were angry. I think, well, they were discussing why I wanted to spend money on education. I pointed out to them, as vice president, I met with over 182 of those folks. Don't hold me to the exact number. And I asked them what they need most, the CEOs. And you've had the same experience on both sides of the aisle. They say a better educated workforce, right? So I looked at them, and I say, I come from Delaware. DuPont used to be the 8th largest corporation in the world. And every new enterprise they bought, they educated the workforce to that enterprise. But none of you do that anymore. Why are you angry with me providing you the opportunity for the best educated workforce in the world? And they all looked at me and said, I think you're right. I want to expand high-quality tutoring and summer learning to see that every child learns to read by 3rd grade. I'm also connecting local businesses and high schools so students get hands-on experience and a path to a good-paying job, whether or not they go to college. And I want to make sure that college is more affordable. Let's continue increasing the Pell Grants to working and middle-class families and increase record investments in HBCUs and minority-serving institutions, including Hispanic institutions.
Burning money.
And I was told I couldn't universally just change the way in which we dealt with student loans. I fixed 2 student loan programs that already existed to reduce the burden of student debt for nearly 4 million Americans, including nurses, firefighters, and others in public service. Like Keenan Jones, a public educator from Minnesota, who's here with us tonight. Keenan, where are you? Keenan, thank you. He's educated hundreds of students so they can go to college. Now he's able to help, after debt forgiveness, get his own daughter to college. And folks, look, such relief is good for the economy because folks are now able to buy a home, start a business, start a family. While we're at it, I want to give public school teachers a raise. And by the way, the first couple of years, we cut the deficit. Now, let me speak to the question of fundamental fairness for all Americans. I've been delivering real results in fiscally responsible ways. We've already cut the federal deficit. Over $1 trillion. I signed the bipartisan deal to cut another $1 trillion in the next decade. It's my goal to cut the federal deficit another $3 trillion by making big corporations and the very wealthy finally beginning to pay their fair share.
More taxes.
Look, I'm a capitalist. If you want to make or can make $1 million or millions of bucks, that's great. Just pay your fair share in taxes.
100%. 100% in taxes, all your money.
It's how we invest things to make this country great. Healthcare, education, defense, and so much more. But here's the deal. The last administration enacted a $2 trillion tax cut, overwhelmingly benefit the top 1%, the very wealthy and the biggest corporations.
Good.
Exploded the federal deficit. They added more to the national debt than any presidential term in American history. Check the numbers. Folks at home, does anybody really think the tax code is fair? Do you really think the wealthy and big corporations need another $2 trillion tax break?
Yes.
I sure don't. I'm going to keep fighting like hell to make it fair. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in federal taxes. Nobody, not one penny. And they haven't yet. In fact, the child tax credit I passed during the pandemic cut taxes for millions of working families and cut child poverty in half. Restore that child tax credit. No child should go hungry in this country. The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Remember in 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion and paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore. Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes. It's time to raise corporate minimum tax to at least 21%.
Bugging.
Every big corporation finally begins to pay their fair share. I also want to end tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, massive executive pay when it's only supposed to be $1 million that could be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%. That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay. No billionaire should pay a lower federal tax rate than a teacher, a sanitation worker, or a nurse.
But they pay all the taxes. They pay the bulk of the tax revenue. Even with a low rate, even with a 0% federal tax rate, you still pay all the taxes.
I propose a minimum tax for billionaires of 25%, just 25%. You know what that would raise? That would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. And imagine what that could do for America. Imagine a future with affordable child care. Millions of families can get they need to go to work to help grow the economy. Imagine a future with paid leave, because no one should have to choose between working and taking care of their sick family member. Imagine the future of home care and elder care and people living with disabilities so they can stay in their homes and family caregivers can finally get the pay they deserve. Tonight, let's all agree once again to stand up for seniors. Many of my friends on the other side of the aisle want to put Social Security on the chopping block. If anyone here tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age, I will stop you. The working people who built this country pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. We have two ways to go. Republicans can cut Social Security and give more tax breaks to the wealthy. That's the proposal. Oh no, you guys don't want another $2 trillion tax cut? I kind of thought that's what your plan was. Well, that's good to hear. You're not going to cut another $2 trillion for the super wealthy. That's good to hear. I'll protect and strengthen Social Security and make the wealthy pay their fair share. Look, too many corporations raise prices to pad their profits, charging more and more for less and less. That's why we're cracking down on corporations that engage in price gouging and deceptive pricing, from food to health care to housing. In fact, the snack companies think you won't notice if they change the size of the bag and put a hell of a lot fewer, same size bag, put fewer chips in it. No, I'm not joking. It's called shrinkflation. Pass Bobby Casey's bill and stop this. I really mean it.
All you're going to do is make more inflation as a result.
You probably all saw that commercial on Snickers bars. You get charged the same amount, and you got about, 10% fewer Snickers in it. Look, I'm also getting rid of junk fees. Those hidden fees at the end of your bill that are there without your knowledge. My administration announced we're cutting credit card late fees from $32 to $8. Banks and credit card companies are allowed to charge what it costs them to instigate the collection. And that's more a hell of a lot like $8 and 30-some dollars. They don't like it. The credit card companies don't like it. But I'm saving American families $20 billion a year with all the junk fees I'm eliminating. Folks at home, that's why the banks are so mad. It's $20 billion in profit. I'm not stopping there. My administration has proposed rules to make cable, travel, utilities, and online ticket sellers tell you the total price up front so there are no surprises. It matters. It matters. And so does this. In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing. That bipartisan bill would hire 1,500 more security agents and officers, 100 more immigration judges to help tackle the backload of 2 million cases, 4,300 more asylum officers, and new policies so they can resolve cases in 6 months instead of 6 years now. What are you against? 100 more high-tech drug detection machines to significantly increase the ability to screen and stop vehicles smuggling fentanyl into America. That's killing thousands of children. This bill would save lives. and bring order to the border. It will also give me and any new president new emergency authority to temporarily shut down the border when the number of migrants at the border is overwhelming. The Border Patrol Union has endorsed this bill. The Federal Chamber of Commerce is, yeah. You're saying low. Look at the facts. I know you know how to read. I believe that given the opportunity for a majority in the House and Senate would endorse the bill as well, a majority right now. But unfortunately, politics has derailed this bill so far. I'm told my predecessor called members of Congress in the Senate to demand they block the bill. He feels political win, he viewed it as a political win for me and a political loser for him. It's not about him, it's not about me. I'd be a winner, not really. Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of thousands of people being killed by illegals?
You let him in.
Parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these smugglers $8,000 to get across the border because they know if they get by and let into the country, it's 6 to 8 years before they have a hearing. And it's worth taking the chance of the $8,000.
It's your policy. It's your policy.
It's you. Only 6 weeks. The idea is it's highly unlikely that people will pay that money and come all that way knowing that they'll be able to be kicked out quickly. Folks, I would respectfully suggest my Republican friends owe it to the American people, get this bill done. We need to act now.
I don't even know Bill was fine before he came in.
And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together. But that's what here's what he will not do. I will not demonize immigrants saying they are poison in the blood of our country. I will not separate families. I will not ban people because of their faith. Unlike my predecessor on my first day in office, I introduced a comprehensive bill to fix our immigration system. Take a look at it. It has all these and more. Secure the border. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers. And so much more. But unlike my predecessor, I know who we are as Americans. We're the only nation in the world with a heart and soul that draws from old and new. Home to Native Americans, whose ancestors have been here for thousands of years. Home to people of from every place on earth. They came freely. Some came in chains. Some came when famine struck, like my ancestral family in Ireland. Some to flee persecution, to chase dreams that are impossible anywhere but here in America. That's America. And we all come from somewhere. But we're all Americans. Look, folks, we have a simple choice. We can fight about fixing the border, or we can fix it. I'm ready to fix it. Send me the border bill now.
It's your policy that's making it broken.
A transformational moment in history happened 59 years ago today in Selma, Alabama. Hundreds of foot soldiers for justice marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, named after the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, to claim their fundamental right to vote. They were beaten, they were bloody, and left for dead. Our late friend and former colleague, John Lewis, was on that march. We miss him. But joining us tonight are other marchers, both in the gallery and on the floor, including Betty Mae Fikes, known as the voice of Selma. The daughter of gospel singers and preachers, she sang songs of prayer and protest on that bloody Sunday to help shake the nation's conscience. 5 months later, the Voting Rights Act passed and was signed into law. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But 59 years later, there are forces taking us back in time. Voter suppression, election subversion, unlimited dark money, extreme gerrymandering. John Lewis is a great friend to many of us here, but if you truly want to honor him and all the heroes who marched with him, then it's time to do more than talk. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act.
We don't need that. Voter ID laws, how about that?
And stop denying another core value of America, our diversity across American life. Banning books, it's wrong. Instead of erasing history, let's make history. I want to protect fundamental rights. Pass the Equality Act. And my message to transgender Americans, I have your back.
I bet you do.
Pass the PRO Act for workers' rights. Raise the federal minimum wage, because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour. We're also making history by confronting the climate crisis, not denying it.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't think any of you think there's no longer a climate crisis.
The biggest crock in my life.
I'm taking the most significant action ever on climate in the history of the world. I'm cutting our carbon emissions in half by 2030, creating tens of thousands of clean energy jobs, like the IBW work is building and installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations.
EVs suck.
30% of America's lands and waters by 2030. And taking action on environmental justice, fence line communities smothered by the legacy of pollution. And patterned after the Peace Corps and AmeriCorps, I launched the Climate Corps to put 20,000 young people to work in the forefront of our clean energy future. I'll triple that number in a decade. To state the obvious, all Americans deserve the freedom to be safe. And America is safer today than when I took office. Year before I took office, murder rates went up 30%. 30% they went up. The biggest increase in history. It was then, through my American Rescue Plan, which every American voted against, I might add, we made the largest investment in public safety ever. Last year, the murder rate saw the sharpest decrease in history. Violent crime fell to one of its lowest levels in more than 50 years. But we have more to do. We have to help cities invest in more community police officers, more mental health workers, more community violence intervention. Give communities the tool to crack down on gun crime, retail crime, and carjacking. Keep building trust, as I've been doing by taking executive action on police reform and calling for it to be the law of the land. Directing my cabinet to review the federal classification of marijuana and expunging thousands of convictions for the mere possession, because no one should be jailed for simply using or have it on their record.
Look at Kamala, the main person like you up for
Take on
read.
crimes of domestic violence. I'm ramping up the Federal Enforcement of the Violence Against Women Act that I proudly wrote when I was a senator, so we can finally end the scourge against women in America. There are other kinds of violence I want to stop. With us tonight is Jasmine, whose 9-year-old sister Jackie was murdered with 21 classmates and teachers in elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Very soon after that happened, Jill and I went to Uvalde for a couple of days. We spent hours and hours with each of the families. We heard their message, so everyone in this room, in this chamber, could hear the same message. The constant refrain, and I was there for hours meeting with every family. They said, do something. Do something. Well, I did do something by establishing the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House.
What's that going to do?
The Vice President is leading the charge. Thank you for doing it.
What's that going to do?
Meanwhile, my predecessor told the NRA he's proud he did nothing on guns when he was president. Oh. After another shooting in Iowa recently, he said, when asked what to do about it, he said, just get over it. There's his quote, just get over it. I say, stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it.
What's your plan? What's your plan to do that? How you going to do that? How you going to go about it?
I'm proud we beat the NRA when I signed the most significant gun safety law in nearly 30 years because of this Congress. We now must beat the NRA again. I'm demanding a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Pass universal background checks. None of this.
On his phone.
I taught the Second Amendment for 12 years. None of this violates the Second Amendment or vilifies responsible gun owners.
Liar.
You know, as we manage challenges at home, we're also managing crises abroad, including in the Middle East. I know the last 5 months have been gut-wrenching for so many people, for the Israeli people, for the Palestinian people, and so many here in America. This crisis began on October 7th with a massacre by a terrorist group called Hamas, as you all know. 1,200 innocent people, women and girls, men and boys, slaughtered after enduring sexual violence. The deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And 250 hostages taken. Here in this chamber tonight are families whose loved ones are still being held by Hamas. I pledge to all the families that we will not rest until we bring every one of your loved ones home. We also work around the clock to bring home Evan and Paul, Americans being unjustly detained by the Russians and others around the world. Israel has the right to go after Hamas. Hamas ended this conflict by releasing hostages, laying down arms, could end it by releasing the hostages, laying down arms, and surrendering those responsible for October 7th. But Israel has Israel has an added burden because Hamas hides and operates among the civilian population like cowards under hospitals, daycare centers, and all the like. Israel also has a fundamental responsibility, though, to protect innocent civilians in Gaza. This war has taken a greater toll on innocent civilians than all previous wars in Gaza combined. More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocents, women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin. families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking. I've been working nonstop to establish an immediate ceasefire that would last for 6 weeks to get all the prisoners released, all the hostages released, to get the hostages home and ease the intolerable and humanitarian crisis and build toward an enduring, something more enduring. The United States has been leading international efforts to get more humanitarian assistance to Gaza. Tonight, I'm directing the U.S. military to lead an emergency mission to establish a temporary pier in the Mediterranean on the coast of Gaza that can receive large shipments carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. No U.S. boots will be on the ground. A temporary pier will enable a massive increase in the amount of humanitarian assistance getting into Gaza every day.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that. We'll see if that happens. A lot of empty promises made tonight.
It must do its part. Israel must allow more aid into Gaza to ensure humanitarian workers aren't caught in the crossfire. And they're announcing they're going to have a crossing in northern Gaza. To the leadership of Israel, I say this: humanitarian assistance cannot be a secondary consideration or a bargaining chip. Protecting and saving innocent lives has to be a priority. As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time. And I say this as a lifelong supporter of Israel. My entire career, no one has a stronger record with Israel than I do. I challenge any of you here. I'm the only American president of Israel in wartime. But there is no other path that guarantees Israel's security and democracy. There is no other path that guarantees Palestinians can live in peace with peace and dignity. And there's no other path that guarantees peace between Israel and all of its neighbors, including Saudi Arabia, with whom I'm talking. Creating stability in the Middle East also means containing the threat posed by Iran. That's why I built a coalition of more than a dozen countries to defend international shipping and freedom of navigation in the Red Sea. I've ordered strikes to degrade the Houthi capability and defend U.S. forces in the region. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not hesitate to direct further measures to protect our people and our military personnel. For years, I've heard many of my Republican and Democratic friends say that China is on the rise and America's falling behind. They've got it backwards. I've been saying it for over 4 years, even when I wasn't president.
I don't know about that.
America's rising. We have the best economy in the world. And since I've come to office, our GDP is up, our trade deficit with China is down to the lowest point in over a decade. And we're standing up against China's unfair economic practices. We're standing up for peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits. I've revitalized our partnership and alliance in the Pacific.
They show Eric Swalwell,
India,
Yum Yum.
Australia, Japan, South Korea, the Pacific Islands. I've made sure that the most advanced American technologies can't be used in China, not allowing to trade them there. Frankly, for all this tough talk on China, it never occurred to my predecessor to do any of that. I want competition with China, not conflict. And we're in a stronger position to win the conflict of the 21st century against China than anyone else, for that matter, than any time as well. Here at home, I've signed over 400 bipartisan bills, but there's more to pass my unity agenda. Strengthen penalties on fentanyl trafficking. You don't want to do that, huh? Pass bipartisan privacy legislation to protect our children online. Harness the promise of AI to protect us from peril. Ban AI voice impersonations and more. And keep our truly sacred obligation to train and equip those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they come home and when they don't. That's why With the strong support and help of Dennis and the VA, I signed the PACT Act, one of the most significant laws ever, helping millions of veterans exposed to toxins who now are battling more than 100 different cancers. Many of them don't come home, but we owe them and their families support. We owe it to ourselves to keep supporting our new health research agency called ARPA-H, and remind us that we can do big things like end cancer as we know it, and we will.
How about the COVID vaccine mandate in the military?
Let me close with this. Yeah.
Wrap it on up, put it on top. You hear me?
I know you don't want to hear any more, Lindsay, but I got to say a few more things. I know it may not look like it, but I've been around a while.
With the age joke.
When you get to be my age, certain things become clearer than ever. I know the American story. Again and again, I've seen the contest between competing forces in the battle for the soul of our nation, between those who want to pull America back to the past and those who want to move America into the future. My lifetime has taught me to embrace freedom and democracy, a future based on core values that have defined America: honesty, decency, dignity, equality, to respect everyone, to give everyone a fair shot, to give hate no safe harbor. Now, other people my age see it differently. The American story of resentment, revenge, and retribution, that's not me. I was born amid World War II, when America stood for the freedom of the world. I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, among working-class people who built this country. I watched in horror as two of my heroes, like many of you did, Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy, were assassinated. And their legacies inspired me to pursue a career in service.
Okay, all right.
I left the law firm and became a public defender because my city of Wilmington was the only city in America occupied by the National Guard after Dr. King was assassinated because of the riots. And I became a county councilman almost by accident. I got elected to the United States Senate when I had no intention of running at age 29.
I don't even care for real. What's your biography?
Then vice president of our first black president. Now president to the first women vice president. In my career, I've been told I was too young. By the way, they didn't let me on the Senate elevators for votes sometimes. Not a joke. And I've been told I'm too old. Whether young or old, I've always known what endures. I've known our North Star. The very idea of America is that we're all created equal and deserves to be treated equally throughout our lives. We've never fully lived up to that idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I won't walk away from it now. I'm optimistic. I really am. I'm optimistic, Nancy. My fellow Americans, the issue facing our nation isn't how old we are. It's how old are our ideas. Hate, anger, revenge, retribution are the oldest of ideas. But you can't lead America with ancient ideas that only take us back. You lead America, the land of possibilities. You need a vision for the future and what can and should be done. Tonight you've heard mine. I see a future where defending democracy, you don't diminish it. I see a future where we restore the right to choose and protect our freedoms, not take them away. I see a future where the middle class finally has a fair shot and the wealthy have to pay their fair share in taxes. I see a future where we save the planet from the climate crisis and our country from gun violence. Above all, I see a future for all Americans. I see a country for all Americans. And I will always be president for all Americans because I believe in America. I believe in you, the American people. You're the reason we've never been more optimistic about our future than I am now. So let's build the future together. Let's remember who we are. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, so there we have it. That is State of the Union address. Y'all please hang tight. We're going to most likely have the GOP response. Now, if you guys know who's doing the GOP response, y'all let me know. I don't know right now. I'm going to hang out right here on C-SPAN. I'm sure they're going to find it. I'm also going to be kind of perusing other websites to see if they are able to bring it up. So y'all don't go nowhere. Hang tight. We're going to look out for the GOP response if they're going to have it. All right. We just make sure they are going to have it. They should. They always do. So y'all please hang tight. So tonight's response will be from Senator Katie Britt from Alabama. All right. Again, tonight's response from the GOP will be read by Senator Katie Britt from the great state of Alabama. All right, so y'all please hang tight for that. As soon as, okay, he's talking still.
Mr. President, Stuart was working there. Absolutely. Thank you for making me the final.
That's why I'm working so hard to raise money to help.
Thank you.
So the response should be right here on C-SPAN. You see at the top it says State of the Union and Republican response. So hang tight.
I'll tell you what.
You were the Baptist preacher tonight.
I'll tell you what Jim Eason once said to me. He said, what did old Jim Eason do for you in Delaware? I said, Mr. Chairman, someplace you'd help and someplace you'd hurt. He looked at me and said, I'll come and campaign for you again. And whichever helps you. That's what he was.
Come on now. Good job. That was a sermon tonight.
Fringe, a sermon.
Good to see you. Thanks.
Great.
Good to see you. Thanks.
Great job.
Thank you.
You knocked it out of the park. Great work.
So low. No, there's no T in scramble.
Great job, Mr. President.
You guys are the best.
When we get that halftime, that was great, so y'all can get in there.
They got your man Guam going to tip over. Remember that? Hank Johnson.
Here's what I worry about with Ukraine. If we pull away, the rest of Europe's going to stay. They're looking for us. And if we see something in the phone, I spend around 90 hours doing the water.
How are you still in office after you said that Guam might capsize?
We're going to get a deal done on Ukraine. We have to. Yes. There's no. Good job on the border.
The Ukraine cake was crazy.
Oh, yeah. I'm sticking with it.
No, I really mean it.
No, really. Thank you, sir.
This guy with you does too.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Good. It was amazing. You did a good job. You were right on.
Yeah, you were on fire. You were on fire.
Nobody's going to talk about cognitive impairment now.
Yeah. You were on fire. Too.
Is that what brown nosing looks like? Is that what that looks like in corporate America? That's crazy.
Working real hard.
You fired us all up. Yeah, you fired us up. You did it great.
Hey, Pat.
Hey, God.
I want you to know
These guys are old, man. You know, Joe Biden said that he was born during World War II. I can't tell. He looks like he was born during the Civil War. He was born in the deep heart of the Confederacy during the Civil War, not during World War II in Delaware.
Let's see if I can get out of the way. Can I get out of the way so y'all can take this?
Did you read today's paper? And I said, no. There's nothing to do. I said, they don't have as many things as you want. It's the headline, top of the bulletin, Biden, coolest man in Congress. Is that true? That's true. Like I was cheating on somebody.
I was coming in to make it a second course.
But you didn't.
Thank you, Molly Strong. Thank you so much.
By the way, it's all done. Don't say that. No, I mean,
Big sushi.
Get that aid to Israel, also security.
This way, ma'am. This way. I actually wanted to go that way so I could say hello to the camera. We have to go now because there's chairs right there.
I'll be there.
Again, we're going to get to the Republican response from Senator Katie Britt from Alabama. That'll be coming up pretty soon. That'll be right here on C-SPAN. So I got my eye out for it. So y'all please hang tight.
Good job, Tammy Duckworth down here trying to get to you, but she can't get out.
I'll get the team.
Thanks for
It's got to turn around.
The State of the Union address is over, but just hang tight because, again, if you're just now coming in, maybe you missed what I said a little while ago. We're going to get to the GOP's response from Senator Katie Britt from Alabama. Y'all please hang tight. I'll be here.
I know I did if she says it. I know that happened.
We're walking this way, so we're going that way.
Yep, we're going this way right here.
Go back. Go back.
Thank you,
Adam, do you got any space behind you?
Nope.
We're going to see you for the first debate in my district, Texas State. Right where LBJ's statue stands.
I'm sure you all won on your bingo card because he pretty much hit everything that was on there.
I led the House Senate bill on our
I shouted real loud. I hope you heard
There you go. Now you gotta come back to Pennsylvania, back to the Lehigh Valley. They loved you. They loved you there.
So what do you guys think about the actual State of the Union address? Do you think that it was, I know what you guys think, but I want to get a little bit more feedback from you guys. Do you think that he told a bunch of lies? Do you think that he did well? Think that he did poorly? What were some of the key moments where you were like, really, Joe? Or did you agree with anything? You guys let me know your thoughts about the State of the Union address. And again, if you're just now coming in, welcome. We have the Republican response coming up in just a few. So we're just waiting here for that. We're just looking at the brown nosing and all that good stuff after the actual speech is over with. You know, you got Pramila Jayapal. I think that's her right there. All right. guys, my thoughts is quite a bit of lying and gaslighting. You know, some things that we know to be false, he made it seem like we were crazy for not believing. One of the main things was about the economy. The economy is doing very poorly. Inflation and everything else is just doing very poorly. And then he just parried to all the typical liberal talking points, minimum wage hikes and tax hikes, things of this nature, you know, playing on the ignorance of people or his perceived ignorance of people, talking about, oh, well, the corporate tax cuts don't do a good job. We got to raise their taxes. All that's going to happen is when you raise corporate taxes from what they said, 12 to 25 or whatever the dollar amount is, all you're going to do, whatever the percentage is, all you're going to do is just increase the cost of goods and services that we got to pay. Okay. If they got to pay more, we got to pay more. That's how that works. So when you have lower taxes for these wealthy individuals and corporations, they're able to use money that they get from not having it taken from them and apply that to the businesses and not charge as much as they would before. You know, people don't understand things like profit margin. All that's baked into a price. A lot of these places, Walmart, et cetera, 4% profit margin, 3% profit margin. If you breaking even, you're doing good a lot of times. A lot of these companies are running consistently in the red. They're not even profitable. So raising taxes just doesn't make any money. All you're going to do is put small business out of business, and you're going to allow your Amazon, your Walmarts, the giants to be able to weather the storm. This is Econ 101, but he's playing on the ignorance of many people that vote for him, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, it's your BFF.
If I can get him to do this. Can I get a picture of the senator and me on our... No, not... You're not going to... We're getting... I got it. Come on, get it. We got it. Here we go.
All right. For IVF, and we put up to freedom.
Thank you. Got it over to you.
I'll try to get it.
You guys exiting? Thank you so much. My stuff is back there. Okay, I'll go around this way. Yes, ma'am.
Can you take this?
Yes. How are you, ma'am?
Good. I saw you earlier. How's everything going? Yeah,
Shout out to you guys for being here, super chatting and retweeting, whatever you're doing. I couldn't do the show without you. I think what we're going to do is, again, wait for the Republican response. And then as soon as they get rocking and rolling, what I'm going to do is we're going to watch that. And I think I'll read you guys super chats at the end. So after the GOP response from Senator Katie Britt from Alabama, after we get done with that, we're going to read super chats and then wrap it on up, put the bow on top. And I hope, for all of our sake, that Miss Britt is well hydrated and has not been drinking coffee all day, because that's going to just promote dehydration, and don't nobody got time for that. All right? We're not trying to no lip smacking or nothing crazy like that going on. All right?
I'm good. How are you? Long time no see. So I'm gonna try right here. Oh my gosh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. HR 40. Great. Phil Jackson. Thank you. You kidding? Should we take a photo right here? Right here, there we go. Excellent, sounds good. Excellent.
Did you get a signing?
I did. I got multiple.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Appreciate you. I'm out of your life and out of your world.
Right this way.
Thank you. I have stuff back here that I have to do.
I think around is probably best.
Thank you.
It's a great picture for Governor.
She's going to be the governor for
For the governor's cabinet.
Sign.
Yes, yes, yes.
We are awaiting the response. As soon as it happens, we'll be watching it.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm happy to do my part.
I was in Kiev 2 Saturdays. You gave a very strong message. Right on. You got to get this done. I talked to Ron last night. He said Chinese are like,
Yeah, quite a bit of kissing. I'm seeing that too. I'm hearing that. Like, I thought I was the only one that heard all the kissing and seeing the kissing. It's like, well, what are we doing? Like, we don't got to do all that kissing. That's a little bit too much. A little bit too much, too extra.
The history's watching. What did I write about this one? I don't mean my speech. I mean this
No, don't write about that speech. You're going to write about this. You're going to write about this.
Good to see you.
Dave Amo from Rhode Island.
Good to
I'll
see
be here.
I didn't get you guys job. I was happy you're here, little man.
Congressman, if you go to the aisle.
My 12-year-old referred to you as her BFF. I sent a photo and she said, oh, it's my BFF.
Do me a favor.
She said, don't forget to tell him he invited me to the White House.
Well, I did.
You did. Oh, I know. Well, okay, who do I talk to?
Yo, exactly. Somebody said that kissing while he's coughing up a lung is really crazy. But people, they do all kind of weird things.
You guys are trying to get
Yeah, well, my kids are pretty lovely. You probably like her more than the other
I love the give and take you gave with her friends across the aisle there.
Mr. President, former Congressman from Detroit, and what you've accomplished for those people is sensational. It really is.
No, I don't.
You're doing it. Tonight, this was the most tremendous. I've been to 8 State of the Union addresses, and this is the best. Thank you for being for the country.
You and my best friend. Right here.
Catherine Klein.
This is my best friend. Catherine. I love it.
So we have a very important conversation.
Good to see you.
My daughter, Greta, met you at the member picnic. You were so kind. You held her up. She said, what do I call her? You said,
Patiently waiting for the response.
President said, had the kids pictures. And she has
That's all I need right now is a response. We're patiently waiting. All right. Shout out to you guys. We still got 2,000 rocking. Y'all, thank you for your patience. We're just waiting on the response from Senator Katie Britt from the great state of Alabama. And once we get to that, once it starts rolling, we will begin watching that. And this stream says they'll carry the Republican response. But I have another stream up from Wall Street Journal just in case this one does not go to it in a timely fashion or at all. I will 100% cover the GOP response. That's what we're here for right now. So we're waiting on that. Maybe she'll start at 11, maybe a little bit after. Usually the GOP response is not too far after the response from it's not too far after the State of the Union address from Biden. So we're just waiting on that.
I got you. I know you are, ma'am.
Put on those glasses.
Harry Truman said, they said, give him hell. Harry says, I'm not giving him hell. I'm just telling the truth. They think it's hell.
That's exactly right. They don't like to hear it.
Mr. President, you were fantastic. Thank you so much. Michigan loves you so much, Mr. President. We're excited to have you there as much as you
I am
want.
holding up everybody here.
Thank you very much.
Hey, do you guys in Michigan think she speaks for you? I know if she was from Virginia, West Virginia, somewhere, one of my states, Tennessee, I would not think that she speaks for me. What do you guys think out there in Michigan?
Stop! I didn't
No one
know.
excuse my expression is a tax on my head. I really mean it. Think of what you do. Everywhere I go, and some of you have been to these international meetings I go to, the CEO and the president pull me aside and go, you got to stand with us. We need you. We need you military. We want our democracy at risk of being outlived. There's so much at stake if we lose it. Ukraine. It's so much bigger. Oh, it just drives me crazy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
for accepting the appointment. About time we had someone strong running the Anyway. Well, thanks.
Is that a transformer? I think this person right here might be LGBT. Yeah, I think that might be something going on there.
Well, how are you? I spent a lot of time in your country, as you know.
I know, twice, 2009.
That's exactly right. Spent a lot of time.
And Dr. White.
Yes. I was worried she wasn't going to come home.
Yeah.
The GOP response will be Senator Katie Britt from Alabama. We're waiting on that.
The best part of her speech was
Thank you.
Oh, hold on, we got it.
Thank you.
Very nice to see you, sir.
Thank you. Keep telling this guy.
Are why I ran for the Senate. I'm worried about their future and the future of children in every corner of our nation. And that's why I invited you into our home tonight. Families across America. My husband, Wesley, and I just watched President Biden's State of the Union address from our living room. And what we saw was the performance of a permanent politician who has actually been in office for longer than I've been alive. One thing was quite clear, though. President Biden just doesn't get it. He's out of touch. Under his administration, families are worse off, our communities are less safe, and our country is less secure. I just wish he understood what real families are facing around kitchen tables just like this one. You know, this is where our family has tough conversations. It's where we make hard decisions. It's where we share the good, the bad, and the ugly of our days. It's where we laugh together. And it's where we hold each other's hands and pray for God's guidance. And many nights, to be honest, it's where Wesley and I worry. I know we're not alone. And so tonight, the American family needs to have a tough conversation. Because the truth is, we're all worried about the future of our nation. The country we know and love seems to be slipping away, and it feels like the next generation will have fewer opportunities and less freedoms than we did. I worry my own children may not even get a shot at living their American dreams. My American dream allowed me, the daughter of two small business owners from rural Enterprise, Alabama, to be elected to the United States Senate at the age of 40. Growing up, sweeping the floor at my dad's hardware store and cleaning the bathroom at my mom's dance studio, I never could have imagined what my story would entail. To think about what the American dream can do across just one generation, in just one lifetime, it's truly breathtaking. But right now, the American dream has turned into a nightmare for so many families. The true, unvarnished state of our union begins and ends with this. Our families are hurting. Our country can do better. And you don't have to look any further than the crisis at our southern border to see it. President Biden inherited the most secure border of all time. But minutes after taking office, he suspended all deportations, he halted construction of the border wall, and he announced a plan to give amnesty to millions. We know that President Biden didn't just create this border crisis, he invited it with 94 executive actions in his first 100 days. When I took office, I took a different approach. I traveled to the Del Rio sector of Texas. That's where I spoke to a woman who shared her story with me. She had been sex trafficked by the cartels starting at the age of 12. She told me not just that she was raped every day, but how many times a day she was raped. The cartels put her on a mattress in a shoebox of a room. And they sent men through that door over and over again for hours and hours on end. We wouldn't be okay with this happening in a third world country. This is the United States of America, and it is past time, in my opinion, that we start acting like it. President Biden's border policies are a disgrace. This crisis is despicable. And the truth is, it is almost entirely preventable. From fentanyl poisonings to horrific murders, there are empty chairs tonight at kitchen tables just like this one because of President Biden's senseless border policies. Just think about Lake and Riley. In my neighboring state of Georgia, this beautiful 22-year-old nursing student went out on a jog one morning, but she never got the opportunity to return home. She was brutally murdered by one of the millions of illegal border crossers President Biden chose to release into our homeland. Y'all, as a mom, I can't quit thinking about this. I mean, this could have been my daughter. This could have been yours. And tonight, President Biden finally said her name. He refused to take responsibility for his own actions. Mr. President, enough is enough. Innocent Americans are dying, and you only have yourself to blame. Fulfill your oath of office. Reverse your policies. End this crisis and stop the suffering. Sadly, we know that President Biden's failures don't stop there. His reckless spending dug our economy into a hole and sent the cost of living through the roof. We have the worst inflation in 40 years and the highest credit card debt in our nation's history. Let that sink in. Hardworking families are struggling to make ends meet today. And with soaring mortgage rates and sky-high childcare costs, they're also struggling to how to plan for tomorrow. The American people are scraping by while President Biden proudly proclaims that Bidenomics is working. Goodness, y'all, bless his heart, we know better. I'll never forget stopping at a gas station in Chilton County one evening. The gentleman working the counter told me that after retiring, he had to pick up a job in his 70s so that he didn't have to choose between going hungry or going without his medication. He said, I did everything right. I did everything I was told to do. I worked hard, I saved, I was responsible. He's not alone. I hear similar concerns from fellow parents, whether I am walking with my friends or whether I'm at my kids' games. But let's be honest, it's been a minute since Joe Biden pumped gas, ran a carpool, or even pushed a grocery cart. Meanwhile, the rest of us see our dollar and we know it doesn't go as far. We see it every day. And despite what he tells you, our communities are not safer. For years, the left has coddled criminals and defunded the police, all while letting repeat offenders walk free. The result is tragic, but foreseeable. From our small towns to America's most iconic city streets, life is getting more and more dangerous. And unfortunately, President Biden's weakness isn't just hurting families here at home. He is making us a punchline on the world stage. Look, where I'm from, your word is your bond. But for 3 years, the president has demonstrated that America's word doesn't mean what it used to. From abandoning our allies in his disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan to desperately pushing another dangerous deal with Iran, President Biden has failed. We've become a nation in retreat, and the enemies of freedom, they see an opportunity. Putin's brutal aggression in Europe has put our allies on the brink. Iran's terrorist proxies have slaughtered Israeli, Jews, and American citizens. They've targeted commercial shipping, and they've attacked our troops nearly 200 times since October, killing 3 U.S. soldiers and 2 Navy SEALs. Meanwhile, the Chinese Communist Party is undercutting America's workers. China is buying up our farmland, spying on our military installations, and spreading propaganda through the likes of TikTok. You see, the CCP knows that if it conquers the minds of our next generation, it conquers America. And what does President Biden do? Well, he bans TikTok for government employees, but creates an account for his own campaign. Y'all, you can't make this stuff up. Look, we all recall when presidents faced national security threats with strength and resolve. That seems like ancient history. Right now, our commander-in-chief is not in command. The free world deserves better than a dithering and diminished leader. America deserves leaders who recognize that secure borders, stable prices, safe streets, and a strong defense are actually the cornerstones of a great nation. Just ask yourself, are you better off now than you were 3 years ago? There's no doubt we're at a crossroads, and it doesn't have to be this way. We all feel it. But here's the good news. We, the people, are still in the driver's seat. We get to decide whether our future will grow brighter or whether we'll settle for an America in decline. Well, I know which choice our children deserve, and I know the choice the Republican Party is fighting for. We are the party of hard-working parents and families, and we want to give you and your children the opportunities to thrive. And we want families to grow. It's why we strongly support continued nationwide access to in vitro fertilization. We want to help loving moms and dads bring precious life into this world. Wesley and I believe there is no greater blessing in life than our children. And that's why tonight, I want to make a direct appeal to the parents out there, and in particular to my fellow moms, many of whom I know will be up tossing and turning at 2 a.m., wondering how you're going to be in 3 places at once and then somehow still get dinner on the table. First of all, we see you, we hear you, and we stand with you. I know you're frustrated. I know you're probably disgusted by most of what you see going on in Washington, and I'll be really honest with you, You're not wrong for feeling that way. Look, I get it. The task in front of us isn't an easy one, but I can promise you one thing. It is worth it. So I am asking you, for the sake of your kids and your grandkids, get into the arena. Every generation has been called to do hard things. American greatness rests in the fact that we always answer that call. It's who we are. Never forget, we are steeped in the blood of patriots who overthrew the most powerful empire in the world. We walk in the footsteps of pioneers who tamed the wild. We now carry forward the same flame of freedom as the liberators of an oppressed Europe. We continue to draw courage from those who bent the moral arc of the universe. And when we gaze upon the heavens, never forget that our DNA contains the same ingenuity that put man on the moon. America has been tested before, and every single time, we've emerged unbowed and unbroken. Our history has been written with grit of men and women who got knocked down. But we know their stories because they did not stay down. We are here because they stood back up. So now it's our turn, our moment to stand up and prove ourselves worthy of protecting the American dream. Together, we can reawaken the heroic spirit of a great nation. Because America, we don't just have a rendezvous with destiny. We take destiny's hand and we lead it. Our future starts around kitchen tables just like this, with moms and dads just like you. And you are why I believe with every fiber of my being that despite the current state of our union, our best days are still ahead. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless these United States of America.
Oh my God, Lord have mercy. Wow. That was bad. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna let her finish. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, that was Senator Katie Britt from the great state of Alabama. Wow. I want to say a lot. First of all, there's a poll up. The poll says, do you like Katie Britt's response? Again, this is Senator Katie Britt from the great state of Alabama. This is a GOP response. She is an Alabama senator. The poll's up. I'm going to go ahead and take that down and see what the results are. The results, let's end the poll right now. We have 12 minutes and 544 votes. And it didn't really change too much from the very beginning. A little bit it changed, but not a whole lot. So we have 60% said no, you did not like Katie Britt's response. 39% said yes. There's probably some rounding in there, 60.5, 39.5, or whatever. That's why it's not a 100% total. So, yeah. Okay. I want to say two things here. I'm not trying to attack her. I think there was a lot that went into this. First of all, this is probably Ronna McDaniel's doing, which is why she needs to go. That's first. Second, not only did Ronna McDaniel select Miss Katie Britt, the speechwriter, whoever wrote that speech, way too dramatic. The speech was entirely too dramatic. I don't think Katie Britt wrote the speech. She just read it, and they probably coached her into reading it. So the coach that they had to work with her, the speechwriter, and then Katie Britt, all of those coming together was just really bad because there was a lot of true things. Like, don't understand. Okay, the content of the speech was correct, but it was just the delivery of it. It was way too dramatic. It was just way too much. We gaze upon the heavens and see the DNA of our children and bless his heart. Just stuff like that. It's like, what are we doing? Is this acting class? The message was a good message, but the delivery was way too much like amateur night at improv. Okay, acting classes. Oh man, that was bad. That was really bad. But the good thing is she was hydrated and didn't do too much. I didn't hear any lip smacking. There was no Marco Rubio grabbing the water moment. So that was good. She was well prepared. But the messaging, the way it was presented was bad. The message itself was good, but it was just way too dramatic. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. That same message, the actual talking points, the key things that were said in there about, things not going very well or whatever, that could have been done in a better way. The way that it was done was so bad that it was distracting. It made you focus on the method rather than the message. And the smiling, yeah. Ronnie McDaniel, this is probably her doing, because I don't think she's resigned yet. And even if she was, this was done before she resigned. So, yeah. Whoever got to come in here next, let's not do that anymore. Please, let's not do that anymore. Yeah, exactly. Shinobi said AI would have done it more naturally. That's one comment I saw quite a bit throughout the entire thing. People were saying, is this AI? Is this like a robot? Is it a machine? Because it was unnatural. That's the key, unnatural. We need a more natural. You know what? I'm gonna say something. Can I say something? And y'all don't hate me for this. Don't shoot me when I say this. Although Joe Biden had the actual wrong talking points, a bunch of lies, a bunch of mischaracterizations, a bunch of gaslighting, although his message was wrong, he delivered it better than she did. Yes, he did. And that's crazy to say it. Even with all the slurring and stuff like that, his delivery was better than hers. But it was like the reverse. He had better delivery, but with an actual poor message. She had a great message with a poor delivery. If you could just combine the two, you would have had a great talk. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. Unfortunately. So yeah, overall, the State of the Union address, a bunch of lies, gaslighting, really bad, really terrible. But he was engaging, I don't know. With her, the message, right on. Delivery, bad. It was bad. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But the positive thing is, again, good messaging, and she was well presented. She looked pretty good. The setting was okay in the kitchen. That's kind of like, you can kind of make a little joke about that. Get back in the kitchen, but not this way. And she was well hydrated, because that's one thing I always hate when I hear some of these responses. They always got dry throats and smacking and stuff like that. All that, I hate when I hear that. That's one of the worst things in the world. When you smacking and stuff, when you're talking, you need to be hydrated. Don't be drinking a bunch of coffee or drinking wine or anything like that before you get on stage and talk. Be hydrated. That's the key. Okay. So yeah, they were both bad, but in different ways, for sure. For sure. Okay. I got super chats on deck. I'm going to read those right quick. Then I wrap it on up, put the bow on top. Shout out to you guys for being here. I really, really appreciate y'all on a Thursday. You guys are the best audience anywhere on these interwebs. All righty, let's check it out here. Shout out to Dane Smith, who says, quote unquote, threat to democracy or thanks to Bidenomics. Thank you to Daphne Roberts for your super chat. Shout out to Teflon, who says, Anthony, appreciate you with a thumbs up. You said that twice, but the first time, 3 thumbs up. The second time, 4 thumbs up. I appreciate you, Teflon. Thank you to Stavros S., who says, those selfies with that old decrepit man are despicable. Thank you to Laney Davis, who says, that geezer won't live 4 more years. Think of the Slenderella Charming who says, "Get out, you cheating loser frontman who would sell his own mother and yours too for a nickel. 10% to the big guy is a fact, and it's our country. He sold out and frauded. Out, out, out. Bad, bad man. Right on, 100%. Shout out to Papa Nia Shelley who says, no cussing, freak Joe Biden, America first. And the flexing emoji, shout out to you for that, boss. Think of the Teflon again who says, GTA Online, stop by, check it out. Shout out to you. Think of the Digital Gypsy who says, the delusion is real and the state of denial's borders are wide open. Think of the KJ who says, stop playing with my boy Verizon Biden. Think of to Lenny Davis who says, say her name, Ashley Biden. Think of the Ken Rettler, pardon me, with the hey you emoji. Think of the Papa Nia Shelley who says, y'all caught Bernie up there mask hustling. 5 minutes ago, he wasn't wearing one. Clown emoji. Yeah, I didn't even catch that. That's crazy. A mask in 2024? Where'd they do that at? Shout out to Sharice. Shout out to you, Sharice. I see you in here. Sharice says, is Joe going to address all the illegals coming into the country? He did, but he didn't. Because that's one thing I wanted to say. He is, just like the Democrats, trying to use the border as a weapon. There was no border crisis before Joe Biden came in. Now all of a sudden it is a border crisis, and he wants to pass a bill with a bunch of other stuff in it. A pathway for the dreamers, all kind of things. It was like, well, before you came in, there was no need for a bill. Now that you're here and you did certain executive orders and decisions on the border, all of a sudden we need a border bill now? Come on, let's put 2 and 2 together to get 4. Think of the 1776 Patriot who says, ABL, can you do a story on how Venezuelans have stolen Walmart Spark delivery drivers' accounts and bringing online grocery orders to customers, putting them at risk? Well, I got to check it out and see what's happening. That's crazy. Think it's I can't read your name, YIMIJ5, who says, Biden is choking like a sinner in church. Think of the Papa Nia Shelley who says, where's Dr. Fauci? Oh, he had his time in the sun, just like, what's the other person that was popular for like 15 minutes of fame? What's her name? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Christine Blasey Ford. Yeah. Cover of Time magazine, big bag of money, then off to the sunset. That's pretty much Anthony Fauci. Think of the Grant Dan who says, now who sounds more angry and unhinged when they speak, Donnie T or this guy? Well, we know the answer to that one. Your man, Joe Biden, sounds a whole crazy mess. Old man, shake and fist that cloud times 1 million. Think of the Zen Christopher who says, Biden is murdering America. Think of the 1776 Patriot who says, Lincoln Rally, Joe has her blood on his hands. Yeah, that's crazy. He called her Lincoln Rally. That was disrespectful. But when you don't really care about the border and who it affects, you're going to call anybody anything. Thank you to Josh for becoming a member. Thank you to Honeybee, who says, thank you, ABL, for presenting. Thank you for being here. Most certainly appreciate you. Thank you to Eliza Jean. She says, greatly appreciate you covering this dismal State of the Union. Your comments are priceless. Thank you for that. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you to your captain who says, LGBT household for Trump, protect our children. Heart emoji times 4. Your captain also says 100 emoji. Thank you to Love You Lots who says, no, Republicans are dead. Okay. Love You Lots says the Lincoln Project set this up. Thank you to probably talking about the response. Thank you to Walton who says Akira Toriyama dead. I'm not quite sure who that is. Do I need to know who that is? Akira Toriyama. Okay. Manga artist. Oh, wow. So the creator of Dragon Ball died, 68 years old, RIP. So, wow. This is like a really important person. So there's quite a few things. Dragon Ball, Dragon Quest, Chrono Trigger, Blue Dragon. He was a character designer on Dragon Quest, Chrono Trigger, and Blue Dragon. And also he worked on a show called, or a manga called Dr. Slump. So RIP to Akira Toriyama. Yeah, definitely Dragon Ball. I was a really, really big fan of the Dragon Ball, Z, GT, the whole thing. So yeah, RIP to him. And RIP to the Republican establishment with that response. Heads will roll, but I think heads have already rolled previously. Heads have already rolled as a result of what happened tonight after the State of the Union address. Overall, the message from the response from the GOP was good, but very bad delivery. And the delivery was better in the State of the Union than the response, but the message was abysmally bad, full of lies, gaslighting, everything up under the sun and more. All right. So I think that'll pretty much do it tonight. Shout out to you guys for being here late on a Thursday night. You might got to go to work in the morning or whatever it is. Shout out to you guys on the left coast, California. My prayers out to you for living in that state. But if you enjoy yourself, if you enjoyed the content, if you enjoyed the channel in general, please give the video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. I'll be doing a summary of the State of the Union coming out tomorrow, maybe about 15 minutes. I'll try to get it under 15 minutes. I ain't trying to skip too much, but I'm not trying to talk too long either in the summary. So that'll be a wrap for me. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out and peace.